Hey, deserving listeners, Darcey and Stacey. Let's watch and see if anything interesting comes out of my face.
It was nice meeting your friends, and, you know, they're all really nice people.
Yeah, tell them we said thank you for coming.
Yeah. I'm sorry if, you know, we might have offended you or if you felt attacked.
All right, so that's a start. I think that it's justified to apologize to him for attacking him. I don't think, unless I'm missing something, that doesn't seem to me to be any reason to be accusing him of anything at this point. Now, maybe he's shady and he is being quiet and reserved because something horrible is in his past, but to assume that is to not be fair. And she's apologizing, so that's good. Let's see if they can continue to rebuild.
But I feel like we're just trying to understand, you know, your life and who you are a little more. I feel like at times it's your way or the highway, or you flip things on Darcey, or like you did.
All right, the beginning of that, I thought, oh, okay, this is going in a good direction, and then more accusations that I don't think is fair. Again, based on what we've seen on the show. I'm thinking about how Stacey and Darcey would word this. That would be fair. They would say, I guess Darcey would say, so as you know, I have trust issues, and I'm an open book. You know everything about me for the most part. I'm also on a reality TV show, which you can watch. And if you want to know about my relationship with Jesse or Tom or whatever, you can just watch that. And I feel like that's my style, and it makes me feel good. And with you, you're just really reserved, which is fine. You can be quiet, but it makes me paranoid, and you could really help me out. One, to help me to know you better so that I can trust you better. But two, I'm just curious about you. That would be great if they said something like that. There doesn't seem, and I've said this before, Darcey with Jesse and with Tom, I think, never really was truly curious about the other person. It was more about, I think, kind of a fantasy. It's hard for me to tell what's going on, obviously, in Darcey's mind, but it seemed more of like a fantasy that she wanted to live out. And most people are like that, particularly in the beginning of a relationship. But what we would hope to see is someone saying, like, I love you. Tell me more about you. What was it like when you were growing up? What were your parents like? What were your siblings like? What was your first marriage like? I'm not, digging. I'm just curious. Like, who are you? And can I see pictures? When we see that, then we see that at least in one style of relationship, someone is curious. They have empathy. They're into you. They want to know things about you, which Tom, and I've said this before, said, which was interesting, that Darcey never asked him about him. Darcey never said, who are you? And also we know that with Tom, she had a vision of him and the relationship. And Tom would often say, like, why are you doing that? He wasn't nice about it, but it's interesting observation. Like in the beginning with Tom, Darcey would say, like, oh, this is so romantic. This is just the best. Everything's the best. And Tom would just be like, could you just not do that? I'm probably phrasing it in a better way than he did, but Tom would say things like, could we just like hang out? Why does everything have to be so wonderful all the time? And I guessed back then that, one, it puts pressure on him to make it this amazing moment, but also I think he was, I don't know if he knew this consciously, but it's a feeling of, I don't feel like you're relating to me as a human being. I feel like you're relating to like what this looks like, or the Instagramification of this, or the fantasy of it. Like, I want a relationship. Can't we just be humans in this moment? And I worry about Georgi in this way, because I wonder if Darcey has any actual loving curiosity about who Georgi is. But anyway, so they could say something like that, just like, hey, you're reserved, which is fine, but it makes us paranoid about things, and if you could just tell us, and again, we're curious about your life. But they don't say that. You got to take responsibility for your paranoia, which I think is there. You have to not be accusatory, which they're not particularly good at. Let's continue watching.
I don't know, just take responsibility for your own actions and just hear what other people are saying without having to flip it back. You know what I mean?
I feel attacked by Stacey last night, and I guess this morning they have the same energy. If I don't want to share everything with them, I don't need to share everything with them.
Okay, good. And that's okay. But how do you communicate that? You could say something like, look, I'm a reserved person, and you're just going to have to trust me that there's nothing hiding in my closet. I have some things in my past I just would rather not talk about. It doesn't concern you. It doesn't get in your way. It's not even that terrible. And maybe one day I will tell you, but at this point, I'm just not ready to talk about it. Another conversation that he could have off camera is, so we're in a reality TV show, and there's some shameful things in my past. I don't want to talk about it. So can we just talk about it off camera? I don't know. So there's a way to communicate that. And again, this accusatory tone and language that they're saying to him of he needs to take responsibilities for his behavior. What behavior? What did he do is the question. Now, again, maybe we'll find out he's super shady and he's an a-hole. So, but there's no evidence of that at this point.
I mean, this is my relationship. Does not have nothing to do with their lives. They have their own problems. They need to deal with.
So what is bothering you? Say what I do wrong.
You feel like everybody owes you something, whether it's an explanation or just something, maybe even something material. That's just how I feel. And it's
What? Are we talking about the same person? He feels like everyone owes him something? What are we talking about? Is there any, it's like, talk about a distortion. Talk about displacement. Talk about transference. It is, yeah, I agree, Georgi. I don't understand either. He needs to take responsibility for his actions. He needs to stop flipping things around, and he needs to stop acting like everyone owes him something. Huh? And now, like I've been saying from the beginning, Darcey knows him a billion times better than I do, but from what we see in the show, that's so out of left field. It's almost like in the past, her accusations of Jesse and Tom, you could almost wonder if she just has these accusations with everyone, and with Jesse and Tom, it just happened to coincide with reality, and with Georgi, it doesn't.
I don't see what it
because
means.
you're out for yourself. You're out for yourself. You just sometimes come across like me, myself, and I.
Now, we don't know enough about the relationship with them to evaluate that statement, because it's possible that behind the scenes she gets this vibe that he's really cold, maybe, and the vibe that he gives off. So that would be hard for me to know. From what we've seen, that doesn't seem like a valid accusation, but all those behind the scenes interactions where they're just chatting in bed or they're hanging out or whatever, it's possible that she has an observation that's valid that he's cold, but that's not how she worded it, of course, and she could word it differently if that was the case.
I
There's
feel
a lot of
like when
things
you
that
don't
you-
get what you want, like we all have to walk around on eggshells. And sometimes it's awkward. Like right now, I feel like very awkward.
So again, I'm not them, but you feel awkward. Okay, you feel awkward. Yeah, it's an awkward situation. But your assumption is that that's Georgi's fault and that you have to walk on eggshells around him. Now, like I've been saying from the beginning, we have no idea what's happening. Now, if ever there was a possible use of the word gaslighting, this might be it. Now, it's not, because I don't believe Darcey and Stacey are purposely going on a mission to make him feel like he doesn't have a grasp on reality, which is the definition of gaslighting. If we're changing the definition, fine, but this is the established definition. It's a purposeful act. I don't think Darcey and Stacey are purposely doing it, but it has a gaslighting effect. I mean, and Florian's then on the narrative too. You just imagine Georgi, like, what is happening? Am I not an accurate evaluator of reality? Because they seem completely convinced that I'm a terrible person and I'm like out for that I'm up to no good and that I'm like Machiavellian and what is happening right now? So interesting.
We should feel like a family. We should all feel like, a team. And
Maybe I feel, attacked.
No, you're not
because
being
you say
attacked.
against
We're trying
me.
to include you, but
when
you
all
shut
three
yourself
against
off.
me, how can
Okay.
be included?
Yeah. So Darcey and Stacey, I wonder if, because we've seen this with Darcey, but now Darcey and Stacey are feeding off of each other. And I wonder if this goes back to when they were children and they had to band together against other people, maybe their dad, who knows. And because they seem quite sure of each other and they're feeding off of each other. And yes, he is being attacked. And yes, it is awkward, but that's your fault. Georgi has done nothing wrong as far as we can tell. And you're the one making him walk on eggshells rather than the other way around. You're the one creating the awkward situation, not him, as far as we can tell. So it's interesting. When I run into this in my personal life, honestly, and I guess clinically as well, but more in my personal life, and I see people that are so distorted, it's so obvious, it somehow feels better to me because I can recognize it. This is not a gray zone. This is so clearly not on me that I don't really have to get worked up about this. But when it's in between, you're wondering, wait, is it my fault? There's a question mark there. So if I were Georgi, I'd be like, I don't know what to do here. And I will say, for Georgi's sake, he could be making this so much worse, but he's not. I mean, just imagine people accusing you of things that are this unjustified and how upset and hurt and angry you might get. And he's just chill. Again, if you want to know more things about him, fine. And you want to admit that you have trust issues, fine. But to go about it this way, it's mildly abusive, actually, to gang up on him in this way.
I feel like Georgi says things that aren't, truthful about how I'm thinking and feeling. I'm just trying to explain to him how I'm thinking and feeling, and then I just don't like how he gaslights the situation.
By the way, my camera is doing that thing again where it keeps wanting to phase in and out of focusing, which drives me nuts. I don't change anything on my camera. I don't touch it. It's the Podwife's camera. It's like a complicated Sony thing. I don't know how to work it really. I didn't change any settings. I never touch it. I just turn it on and off and take off the lens cap. And every, few months, it just decides it can't autofocus. And there's just nothing I can do. So I apologize for that. But he's gaslighting her. Now, maybe he is. But there certainly is no evidence of that on the show. Now, like I've been saying, maybe there's a big reveal later on that he is super shady and there's all this stuff, but there's no evidence of that at this point.
All my fault. I've been very patient with you. Extremely patient. And
like what Daddy says, blowing smoke and fire.
Yeah, nobody likes when they blow smoke up your ass.
But you feel this way?
I find this personally frustrating. As a therapist, I would roll with it, but as a viewer and as a, I guess a hopeful person for Darcey and Georgi, I find this just incredibly frustrating. Is it frustrating to you? Let me know in the comments. To watch the distortion and the ganging up and semi-bullying of Georgi, I just get off of it. Just enjoy your life. Enjoy your day. Be curious, but don't look for, it's like a weird witch hunt that they're on.
I know if Georgi finds out that I'm meeting his ex-wife, he's not gonna like it.
Yeah, because you're going behind someone's back. Now, maybe Georgi would be cool with you talking with her, but to go behind his back, now who's gaslighting? On the colloquial slang sense, who is the one being deceptive? Who is the one being shady? Who is the one being harmful? You're going behind someone's back. You're lying by omission to someone.
But I should feel guilty about trying to figure out who the man I'm supposed to marry truly is.
And like I've been saying from the beginning, it's no wonder that he's reserved, because when he does reveal things about himself, then things explode. So he is darned if he does, and he's darned if he doesn't. So it's a no-win situation for him.
In the quarantine, to relieve my stress.
I'm not happy what Georgi said last night about Stacey supporting me. He's trying to get like good attention for himself, and he's trying to make me like look like bad to everybody. Like it's a completely different situation.
If I remember right, Florian, was the one who was accusing Georgi of being some kind of a mooch. And that's why Georgi defended himself by saying, "What are you talking about? You're accusing me of what you're doing right now. You don't work, and Stacey supports you. So get off my back." That's why he pointed that out, if I remember right.
Even for my birthday, I never asked gift.
I understand it's like hard for you, but it's different, you and me.
I mean, I don't know. It was taken the wrong way. I don't think I do something wrong.
No, or Georgi, never wrong. You still accept the wrong.
Maybe because he's not wrong? Am I missing something? Am I being gaslit? The three of them are sure that Georgi is some kind of evildoer, that he never takes responsibility, that he's this constant mooch, and he is unfair to everyone around him. And I'm searching for literally one thing that Georgi has done wrong. I'm trying to think of one thing that he has done wrong. And I keep saying, maybe something will come out in the future, but at this point, there's just nothing. If anything, he's gone way above and beyond. In this moment, he has every right to just walk out and be like, "Screw you," and get angry. I wouldn't recommend it. And remember last season when Florian was having a moment and Georgi was like a total bro and got out of the car and like went up to him and said, "Hey, I'm with you." You know, he's supportive and nice. And what is happening?
Never tell like it's my fault. I'm not wrong. You don't compare me to yourself. To say it like this is tough here.
That's what my intentions.
All right, so total theory here. I'm grasping at why this would be happening. So we all know that Darcey has trust issues and that she can be paranoid. And I'm using the definition of paranoid that's broader than the psychotic sense of paranoia, meaning that you are seeing things that aren't there. You're much more suspicious of things that aren't necessary. There's no real reason to be that suspicious. But anyway, so I wonder if Stacey and Florian are having a lot more problems. It seems possible that they're going through an adjustment anyway, because they've never lived together for this long. They've been together for, 5-6 years or something, but they were always long distance. So now that they're living with each other, it's the quarantine, they're stuck with each other, they're cooped up. It wouldn't be surprising if Stacey and Florian weren't having problems. And for the two of them, as we know, when you have conflict, you will triangulate a third, and they might be triangulating Georgi and Darcey's relationship, or maybe Georgi in particular. And it's helping them, it's distracting them from their own conflict, bonding them together in a way. Because Stacey getting on Georgi's case kind of makes sense, because she would come from the same relational traumas as Darcey. I think Stacey has a bit of a protective role over Darcey. That makes sense. But Florian, why would Florian be getting on that weird train? And it's possible because Florian and Stacey need that in order to function. They need to distract themselves from their own worries of flying apart. And so maybe that's happening. Again, that's a total shot in the dark. And then that is spinning up Darcey in terms of her trust issues. And this whole thing is flying out of control. It's just a guess.
Darcey, she think I'm with her because my benefits. I'm not with her for some benefits. I'm with her because I care about her, because I love her, and she's a great person. That's why I'm with her. But for her, I don't know why she's still hard to understand and still questioning and still this.
Yeah. And other people have been accused of these kinds of things, and they don't respond like this. Like who was with I don't know if I posted this yet, but I recorded the episode with Danielle and Mohammed. There's an accusation of, oh, you're just in it for the green card, you're just in it for the money or whatever. And Mohammed never responded, and that's always what we're looking for. Now, someone could be lying, but at least if someone had these feelings, they would say it, and Georgi's saying it. Look, I don't understand why I'm being accused of this. I care about her. I love her. I want to be with her. I like her personality. I'm not here for the money. So at least you would hope someone would say that. Now, it's hard to know if Georgi's being truthful. I don't think there's any reason to doubt him, but who knows? Let's see what Florian says.
To the rest of my life, questioning. One point, you need to feel comfortable.
Soon, but you love somebody, you need to sacrifice. There's to be hers before and like to make sure 100%. I understand?
Yeah, but who from her past moved to live with her? Who from her past spent like a year together in the quarantine lockdown in one little place?
It's a good point. Who in her past, and we don't know all of her relationships, but at least in recent past, who in her past has quit their job, moved in with her? Tom and Jesse didn't do that. Who in her past would quarantine with her? Who in her past doesn't yell at her? Who in her past didn't cheat on her? Like, yeah, these are good points. So why am I being accused of all this stuff? I get it in the past, but why me?
Like, if I'm fake, you think you're not gonna find out I'm not gonna walk?
There's like one to get clear in mind. Like, I have the correct guy. I don't need to question no more Georgi for nothing.
Darcey is always gonna question, no matter what. And then she's gonna find the answer. She was gonna question something else.
Right, that would be a seemingly accurate conceptualization, that no matter what, Darcey will find something to be worried about and paranoid about and question. Yeah, it seems clear. Again, we don't know what's happening, but at least from what we're seeing, that seems accurate.
For it, and I come here with nothing. I thought there's gonna be more understanding and be on my side. But I'm not seeing that. Nobody getting my side.
All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.